Hey guys, this is your fiery friend the Infernoman here, and if you're into games, you're right where you need to be. But before we get into it, if you like the content that I put out there, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit me up with a like, or even better, subscribe to me. It really shows that people do care about my content. Now, if you have questions, comments, stuff you'd like to see played or discussed, you can @me on Twitter or chat directly with me as I stream 2 to 3 times a week on Twitch. A visual link for those are up on the screen right now, and I will have direct links in the details below. And for today's video, we're going to be covering the suspension of Brainstorm in Historic. And again, remember, this is a suspension. This is not a banning immediately. Although realistically, if you've seen the track record of Wizards, 9 times out of 10, if a card does get suspended, it will most likely get banned. With the only exception, of course, was Burning Tree Emissary. Go figure. In any case, let's talk real briefly about this. I don't want to spend too much time on this kind of topic, mainly because most of what I'm going to say has already been reiterated from the Time Warp card video that I already did. And if you want to check that out, just be sure to check out the link above. But in any case, so I'm honestly really conflicted. Personally, for me, I don't like to see too many cards get banned in a format, because then you start having to question, for in this instance, Wizards of the Coast's decision-making with basically the Mystical Archives. And that leads me to the first question I want to ask. Were the Mystical Archive cards a mistake to add to Historic? And that's a really loaded question. So let's keep this brief. What you see on screen right now is I do have up all the cards that are currently banned, and I threw in there, of course, Brainstorm, because that's inevitable. As you can see right here, the majority of these cards were already pre-banned because they were already deemed too powerful for Historic, although I am still likely going to be one of the few people that will abdicate that Swords to Plowshare. And yes, I will take my hot take again on this. Lightning Bolt, I feel like, could actually be viable in the game without being too format warping. But that's obviously not the point of this video. Going back to Brainstorm, personally for me, I would not want to see the card banned. However, I have to be honest, I have seen that card utilized so much, and I believe right now the statistics are saying that almost 80% of decks in the meta right now, in Historic, are utilizing a playset of Brainstorm, which is insanely high. And similar to what I just mentioned in the Time Warp video, it's not so much that the card itself is the problem. Well, in this case, there can be a heavy argument for that. But for me personally, it's what it enables. And the decks that enable and capitalize completely on this are, as you've seen, of course, the Arclight Phoenix deck and Rogues. Both of those decks completely thrive on using Brainstorm to fix draws, to ensure that they can get their triggers off, and to ensure that their deck basically does what it does. But is this going to be how we're going to see going forward when we get supplemental bonus things for Standard and then they make extra cards for Historic? I don't know. And honestly, if you see the trend now, I know some people are going to make the slippery slope about this, but if you see that Brainstorm is already getting the axe, don't be surprised if Faithless Looting is coming next. So for those of you that are playing your Arcanist decks, those of you that are still trying to ride out Phoenix until the very moment they actually hit that ban for Brainstorm, yeah, just get ready to see your decks get nerfed or pretty much eliminated. But the only thing I just want to leave you with for this, because again, we're going to keep this real brief, is what do we want to see out of Historic? Do we want to see it as basically at this point Legacy Light? Because there are cards in here like Memory Lapse that don't really see play in like Pioneer. They don't see play in Modern, or sometimes these cards aren't even available in those. But they do get a format where they get to shine, sometimes almost a little too well. And to be honest, I actually would like to see Historic become basically the legacy for Arena. I would like for Wizards to continually try to push to put Pioneer on Magic Arena, which I know they already did a little FYI about that. I'll throw that up on the screen real quick, but we won't go into that for today. We might talk about that another time. But in any case, I guess I'll just leave it with this. What do you guys all think that Historic should be? Do you want it to see its power level completely raised up to a new level where we could dare say this is basically Arena's answer to its own legacy format? as historic? Do you want to see it to be more to the ground, more balanced, like a Pioneer style? Let me know in the comments below, guys, and I would love to hear from you guys. Again, I would hope that in the future, if we do get new products where they do something again similar to Mystical Archives, where they will add in paper these supplemental cards, which can be legal in historic but just not standard. I just hope that if Wizards does this in the future, that they will at least be a little bit more open to having some cards just kind of be written out, but at the same time pick the appropriate cards. If you want to see what I would have recommended for 1-drops, be sure to check out also that video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. But aside from that, thanks again for watching, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe if I helped you out, you learned something, or at least I entertained you. And remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.